Hey guys, it's Holly, aka Upon a Minifig Pals, and I have a new gaming chair and it's hot pink and I really like it. It means my back's no longer going to hurt. It's going to be great. But in more important news, you might have seen something lurking in the background on my bed in a few videos. Yeah, I managed to get an entire box of Harry Potter CMFs and honestly, super hyped. Even though I don't actually know what I'm going to do with the rest of them, I'm planning on maybe selling a few, probably keeping a few. I definitely want duplicates of Fred and George so I can have them in my Hogwarts robes. So I opened all of these. Ideally, this review was going to go up a lot earlier, but I got sick. So if you want to see me take a COVID test, I'll link the vlog in the little card section over here. I don't even know which direction it is. I'm facing backwards. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. When I first saw this series, I wasn't too sure how I felt about it. At first, I didn't think I liked it as much as series 1. Upon opening these figures though, I definitely think it's the better of the two. There are still some characters which I feel like are very weak, but overall, this series is really good and we have some really solid accessories which I'm really hyped for. So let's take a look at them now. We'll go through one by one, numbered order. You know how it is. This is a CMF review. It's nothing too special. Let's go. So here are all 16 figures, and as a whole, when you put them all together, this series looks fantastic. So let's take a look at them one by one, starting off with Harry Potter. So Harry's a tough one for me. While I think his outfit is pretty plain, at the same time, it's really good to get some good casual clothes for him, especially because every other hoodie variant we got in the sets was just a reuse of the Jurassic World torso that was also in the Spider-Man Far From Home set. You know, we've seen it 1,000 times, so it's good to get a unique zippered print for Harry. Taking that away though, we can get a better look at his torso and leg printing. He's got some really nice details on his jacket with a red shirt on underneath, and even on his jeans, you've got printing on the sides to show the sewing lines of the pants. It looks really good. I also really like how he's got the black shoes on, and just in total, I think the figure turned out really nicely, although I do wish we got a better variant, probably something more exciting. The best part about this Harry figure though is that he does have a different face to the other Harry Potters we've seen in the sets. He has a much more shocked and scared expression on the front, and then on the back he has a classic smile. Unfortunately, the advanced potion making book does not have any text on the front. That's something that's kind of disappointing. I wish they could have done it. But on the inside we get a really lovely printed tile, and at the top it says Sectum Sempra, and then you've also got a bunch of other notes from the Half-Blood Prince written on it. It looks really good. I didn't think they were going to include something like this. Overall, while Harry's not the most exciting figure in this series, I definitely think he's grown on me. Next up we have Albus Dumbledore, complete with Fawkes the Phoenix, and he is definitely one of my favorites in the series. It's really good to see Richard Harris Dumbledore come back with a robe piece this time, as well as a white beard, which does make him considerably different to the ones we've seen in the Advent Calendar and the Great Hall. Dumbledore's hairpiece as well is one of the best things I think out of this entire series. I love that hair hat mold. It looks fantastic, let alone Fawkes the Phoenix himself. Taking Fawkes away though, we get a better look at Dumbledore's printing, and it looks really good. I love the metallic gold on it. I think it looks amazing. And when you take his beard off, we get an even better look at the torso print. And removing off his hair as well, you can see that at the back he's got his hat printed on. It's interesting to note though that he does have a double-sided face, even though when you have his beard on you can't really tell at all. It's a nice detail, although I think it was completely unnecessary really, and I think they could have used that on someone else like Griphook, for example. Then taking a closer look at Fawkes, this is the first time we've had a Fawkes mold since 2002, and I think he turned out amazing. I definitely want to keep 2 Dumbledores just so that I have multiple Fawkes. Next up is Hermione Granger, and out of the trio in their casual clothes in this series, I definitely have to say she's my least favorite, and that's purely because I just don't really like the outfit, and that's definitely more of a movie costume designer's thing than a Lego thing. I think the printing looks really good and it's very accurate, and I love the leg printing so much on Hermione. It looks really, really good. Her accessories include her wand and this really nice butterbeer glass mold that we haven't seen before. I do wish though it did have white on the top to represent that butterbeer foam that does notably get stuck on her top lip in this scene, but either way I think it looks really good and it'd be awesome to have tons of these. Another great thing I really like about Hermione is her face print. I think this is the best Hermione face we've ever gotten. It looks a lot like Emma Watson and it makes me really happy. As much as I really do like the one we see in the sets, it is a reuse from Pirates of the Caribbean, so it's awesome to see a similar version but done perfectly for Hermione in this CMF series. Her regular smiling face looks really good, but you also get a scared, shocked expression. Next up we have Ron, and honestly I think he's got one of the best torso prints out of the entire series. With all the stripes and the arm printing, it looks amazing, and already already, I've seen lots of people use this torso and leg print to make people's sig figs, and I think it looks really good. I'm so glad that we have something this detailed, but also it matches Ron in the scene perfectly. So for me, who wants everything to be accurate, I'm really, really happy. Just like the other members of the trio, Ron has a brand new face print, which is actually a recolor of Chandler's from the LEGO Ideas Friends set. While I'm kind of annoyed that they did reuse it, I'm glad that they recolored the eyebrows and took that time to do that, because that is my biggest complaint with the Ginny Weasley figure, especially the one in Diagon Alley. I also do think this face print really suits him, and I love the confused side especially. I think that looks really good on Ron. Just like Hermione, Ron also comes with a glass of butterbeer, so it's nice that you get multiples of them, even if you only buy one of every figure in this series. Next up is Lion Luna, and this is such an interesting costume to get in a CMF series. It was a really memorable costume in the Half-Blood Prince in general, even though she wasn't actually in this outfit for too long in the film. I also really like the print on her clothes with her vest and her pink pants, although I don't see too many people using those legs for other things. It does look really nice and they did an amazing job. Now, if you don't want Luna in her lion head at all times, you can take it off and swap it around with just a regular blonde ponytail piece that we've seen before. I honestly didn't think that LEGO was going to include that, so the fact that they did makes me really, really happy. Luna also has a brand new face print, which you can't really see too well on camera because on the outside of her lips there is a really faint light pink marking. Even if I turn the brightness down, you still can't see it. It is very faint but very noticeable in real life. On one side of her face she's got a big cheesy grin, on the other side she's got a slight smile. Also, in case anyone was wondering, this is where I got the new face from my sig fig from. Yeah, I've stolen it from another Harry Potter CMF series, but you can't deny it looks really nice. Next up is Griphook, and upon first seeing this series I didn't really care for him too much. I thought he looked cool, and then I saw that he came with the Sword of Gryffindor, and instantly he became one of my favorites because I knew I just needed that accessory. I needed it. Griphook also comes with a key too, but then again, you're not really buying Griphook to have more keys, are you? You want the Sword of Gryffindor. Taking that away though, we can have a better look at the figure, and one of the best things about him is definitely his striped arm printing. I feel like people could get a lot of use out of that. Even his torso in general, I feel like you could get a lot of use out of just because it looks like a regular vest and a regular shirt. It doesn't look too much like a goblin per se. I also really like the way Griphook's hair and ear combo turned out. I'm so glad we've moved away from those creepy goblin molded heads. I think this looks a lot better, and also his face print looks really good. It is unfortunate though that it's only single-sided. Like, I would have sacrificed Dumbledore's double-sided head so we could get another face print for Griphook, although it makes me think as well that he will be appearing in a slightly different version in a set next year, kind of like Dobby did in the first CMF series. One thing I don't think that's coming back though is this sword, which is a shame because it looks beautiful. I kind of do hope that it makes an appearance in the future, even though that will take away from the specialty factor of the CMF series. I just can't believe that we got a Sword of Gryffindor mold. It was definitely one of the things I really wanted to see most out of LEGO Harry Potter, and I definitely didn't think it would come this cheaply or easily in a Griphook CMF, especially because he's the easiest figure to find, being the only one with short legs out of this series. Next is one figure I definitely never thought we would see in LEGO form, and that is Lily Potter, complete with a baby Harry accessory, which is one of the cutest things we have ever seen. While I'm super glad that we got Lily though, I definitely don't like this figure. I don't know what it is. At first I thought it was really good, but now upon having her and looking at her in my hands, there's just something off, and I do not like it. But before we look at her, let's look at baby Harry. So he is using the same piece as the baby Voldemort in the Rise of Voldemort set that was released last year, except this time we've now got a classic baby face and a little H printed on the front in gold. But now just looking at Lily, her outfit is accurate, okay? It looks exactly like it should. However, what I don't like, firstly, is the gut line on her stomach. Lily Potter is not a very big character. I don't know why that's there. I don't know if that's supposed to be her when she's pregnant or like what's going on, but I just don't get why that's there. The other problem I have is her face. Now, this side of her face I think looks fine. Now, in the book, Lily Potter died when she was 21, and that's something I've always really had a problem with about the movies, is that they didn't depict how young Lily and James actually were when they died. So when I look at this figure, this face looks fine to me, but then you turn it around and then you get this really happy, old looking face. Like, the fact that Lily is smiling so much irritates me because, one, you know, we're in the middle of a wizarding war. too. She dies, so like she really shouldn't be that happy. Next up is James Potter, and overall, I really like him. Like Lily, I'm surprised that we even have him, but one thing I find kind of interesting though is that his and Lily's outfits don't match up to the same scene. I thought if they were going to do James and Lily, they would be in the same outfits from the same scene. However, Lily is from the Prince's Tale scene from the Deathly Hallows, whereas James to me looks like he's just come straight out of the photograph that he's holding as an accessory. Speaking of that photograph, let's look at it now because this looks really good. So this photograph piece is on a 2x3 tile and has a metallic gold border around it, and it looks gorgeous. And it's that scene where James and Lily are dancing in the winter and the wind's blowing and the leaves are picking up, and it looks really, really good. In this photo though, Lily's hair looks more like Ariel's from the Disney CMF series, which honestly I would have preferred if they did something like that for her rather than the hair they did give her. And James looks like more of a bowl cut. I don't know what's going on. Like he literally has a short hairpiece that he's wearing. Why is his hair so much longer in this photo? I do not know. Taking that away though, I think James is really good, and I'm glad the scarf isn't a print and that it is a separate piece, because that way you can take it off and use his torso and legs just like a regular suit. This front face as well I think looks really good. I love the sideburns on the side, even though they don't completely match up with the hair color. But then just like Lily, you turn his head round and he looks way too happy. Remember, we're in a wizarding war. A war. We are fighting the Dark Lord. These aren't good things. Taking the scarf off though, we can get a better look at the rest of his torso print, which overall looks really good. I just wish him and Lily matched a bit better and probably didn't look quite as old or as happy as they do. Next up is Ginny, and she's definitely my least favorite in this series. I have so many problems with this figure, and they're all pretty petty, honestly. My first issue is the fact that this outfit was literally in the scene for 2 seconds. I timed it. Why are we using this version of Ginny? It's not even a memorable outfit. It's from the Slug Club Christmas party, and I didn't even recognize it at first. In fact, I didn't even know she was at the Christmas party. She's just in the background. She's literally in the background when Draco's being dragged through the door. In saying that, the way they did do Ginny is good. I just don't like this version of the character. The only thing that redeems it for me is the fact that we finally get Ginny her own custom printed face. It's about time. Ginny deserved so much better. Her accessory is really cool too. You get these really nice ice cream scoop glass vase type things, even though technically that was a completely different scene where she was wearing a different dress. See, that doesn't match up either. Another problem I have. You also get this new custom molded hairpiece. I just don't like the hairstyle that she had in that scene, which I think is my main problem with it, although it definitely looks a lot better in real life than it did in the photos I'd seen. And the dress itself does look really good. It's nice to get something green like this, even though her torso printing color does not show up very well on that green, but that's okay. Her hairpiece makes Ginny look like she has a 5 head, honestly, as well. So I do not like this figure that much. I'm glad that we did get Ginny, but I wish we got a better version. Honestly, why didn't we get the Yule Ball version of Ginny? Like, we've had a lot of Yule Ball characters. That would have been awesome, and I think more people would have recognized that as well, considering you did get a close-up shot of Neville running to dance with her, and there were several shots of her and Neville up close in the film. She wasn't just in the background like she was at the Slug Club. I mean, she still was, but not as in the background. Next up are the Weasley twins, starting off with Fred, and I'm really shocked to see these twins appear in this series. I didn't think that was ever going to happen, and I'm really happy they did, even though I don't necessarily like the outfits that were chosen for them. Now, Fred comes with a briefcase piece, which I haven't really seen since the Fantastic Beasts sets, and you open it up, and on the inside there is a betting scheme on the front, and when you open it on the inside you can see all of the bets that the Weasleys are selling to place on the Triwizard Champions, Fleur, Diggory, Crumb, and Potter, and then there are also 2 really nice printed tiles on the inside of the suitcase. I really like how they have variation in the prints. Even though they're wearing the same clothes between both sets of twins, you have different prints, which makes me very, very happy. Now, also with these faces, it's important to note that they are the exact same ones that do appear in Diagon Alley. So for me, I'm going to be opening up another set of twins. That way I can put these faces and get them some hair and put them on some Hogwarts robes. Hopefully the twins start to pop up in some more sets. They are some of my favorite characters and I'd love to see more of them. And then to go along with Fred, of course, we have to have George, who comes with a very, very nice Marauders map print. Now, technically, Fred and George gave Harry the Marauders map in the Prisoner of Azkaban, and these outfits are from the Goblet of Fire, so it does not match at
at all, which usually would irritate me, but I'm just really excited to have a closed Marauders map print. It also goes really nicely with the one that we got in the student pack. George's hair is the exact same as Fred's, but this time he's got a different face. He's got a nice smiling one and an even cheesier closed eye grin. He looks very, very happy in that. His jacket is also open up this time rather than being closed, which is good. Have some nice variation. Next up is Bellatrix, and I love this figure for a number of reasons. The first reason, of course, is the fact that we get a beautiful looking Bellatrix face. This front face especially looks amazing. Her alternate face, well, okay, I'll talk about that in a second, but I just don't really like it as much. I also just love the fact that we're getting the Azkaban prison uniform. It looks amazing, and I wish we could get this as well for like Sirius Black probably. The striped arms as well look really good, although it is unfortunate that Bellatrix is done in a light bluish grey, whereas Sirius Black, the actual figure, is a dark bluish grey, which means if you put the arms on it, it probably wouldn't match up completely. Although I guess because it's stripes, it wouldn't look too awful either. You could probably get away with it. Bellatrix also comes with a black wand, some dark grey handcuffs, and a really nice Azkaban plaque showing her prison number. Now, her alternate face I really like. It's definitely a lot better than the Mantis's, although I just don't think it's angry enough for Bellatrix. I know I'm being so picky and so hard on her, but honestly, that one in 2010 was just almost perfect. It had the best facial expressions. I wish they would do that type of detail and justice to Bellatrix these days. Next up is one of the members of the Order of the Phoenix, and that is Kingsley Shacklebot, and he was a really pleasant surprise to get in this series. His accessory is a dark brown broom, which I haven't seen before. I know it does appear in Diagon Alley as well, but prior to that, I don't think this broom color has existed. Kingsley also has this really nice cloth piece, which I mean, it needs to be pushed down so that it drapes down properly, but the actual piece of cloth is beautiful. It is dual toned. There is a darker blue on the inside and a lighter bright blue on the outside, and overall his printing on his arms and his torso, it looks really nice. It's a lot simpler compared to a lot of the other characters in this series, but it's very effective and looks very accurate. I also really like the hat that they've given him, and his face print also looks really good too. While he's not the most exciting or most detailed character out of the series, I'm really, really glad we have him, because otherwise I don't really know too many other places that they would be able to put him in. Next up is my favorite figure hands down, and that is Moaning Myrtle. She looks incredible and has blown me away. I'll take Myrtle off her little stand though so we can have a better look at her. So here is Moaning Myrtle, and the amount of detail and time and effort I think they put into this figure it really shows. When you look at the rest of the series, you can tell that they spent a lot of time and care into getting her right. Her accessory is Tom Riddle's diary, which I really like considering we have the stabbed version with Dobby from the original CMF series. The cover for it looks really nice. It's got all these scratches on it, and it's also got these two little shiny metallic gold plates in the corner. And then when you open it up, you have a little tile that says, "My name is Harry Potter," and then Tom Riddle writes back, "Hello," also with some like burnt pages on the sides of the parchment. It looks really nice, and I love the detail on that little tile. I'm also really glad that they did go with blue for Myrtle, even though Nearly Headless Nick is grey, and technically Myrtle is a grey ghost. I think the blue really benefits her because of how sad the character is. She kind of reminds me of Sadness in that way, but also in the Chamber of Secrets, the lighting is very blue, and she does look blue in quite a lot of the scenes. Her hairpiece is also really nice. It is brand new and is made of a soft rubber, so you can feel that in the bags if you are looking for that. She's got some really nice back printing with her Ravenclaw hood, and once again more marks on her uniform. And then when you take her hair off, you can have a better look at the rest of the printing as well as her angry double-sided face. I love the two expressions they did for her. I really think it captures the character perfectly. Next up, we have Professor Spratt, and this is the second time that she has appeared in Lego form, the first time being in the 2011 Battle for Hogwarts. And this version is miles ahead of that one. I love the molded hair hat combo with the earmuffs especially. It reminds me a lot of the 1 through 4 game when you're playing as Professor Sprout. I also really like the printing that they've gone for her torso and dress piece. It looks really good and very accurate. While I'm always happy to have more cauldrons and more mandrakes, it is a shame though that that cauldron does not match up with either Neville from the original CMF series or the ones in the Astronomy Tower. Although one good thing about it is we do get a different mandrake print to those in the Astronomy Tower. It still looks very similar and is using the same piece but does have a different print. I honestly would have liked to see some other type of plant. I get why we've gone for the mandrake, but then again, it was in the first series, it's in the Astronomy Tower. At this point, I'm kind of sick of seeing the mandrakes. I want to see something new and something different. And lastly, we have Neville, which is definitely the best figure to get duplicates of in this series because you get some more of the Gryffindor robes. Now, they are technically different to Hermione's from this original CMF, but they are very, very, very similar, which is slightly disappointing. I do wish that we got some ripped up robes just to make it a bit more special after Neville did get attacked by the book, although I get why they did do this so that you can get multiples and you can build student armies and things like that. The best part about Neville though is definitely the Monster Book of Monsters accessory. This thing looks incredible and I'm so glad we went for a custom molded cover with all of the teeth, and I love the printing on it as well. It's also awesome on the inside to see some side printing on a cheese slope with the pages in the book and the Monster Book of Monsters teeth, as well as its bookmark tongue sticking out. They did so well to do that. I wonder as well if that means we're going to get more cheese slope printing like that in the future. Neville also does come with a brand new face, one looking slightly depressed and one looking a lot more scared. So that is the entirety of the Harry Potter Series 2 Collectible Minifigures series. Overall, I definitely think it is better than the first one. The accessories on a whole in this series are incredible, and you get so many different and unique versions that I don't think we're going to get too many of these again in the future. There are just so many unique pieces and unique prints in this series that overall I am really happy. They all definitely look a lot better in person than they do in photos. Let me know your favorite and least favorite figure from the series. My favorite, hands down, Moaning Myrtle, and my least favorite, honestly, probably a tie between Lily and Ginny, although I think Ginny takes the cake on that one just by a tiny weeny bit. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel down below, because let me tell you, Diagon Alley is coming. But until then, I'll see you later.